Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're joined by our partners at J J Exterminating, and we're talking about the rodent season. With all of the rain and the weather that we have had, it is going to create some real issues. And here to talk about that is Russell Meisner. He has been with J J for well over a decade, and he understands rodents, and he's going to help us understand what we need to know. Russell, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
I'm telling you, nobody wants to think about rodent season. I didn't know there was such a thing as rodent season.
In the pest industry, there's several different seasons, but with the cool weather and the amount of rain, it's rodent season.
So before we talk about rodent season, I want to talk about COVID-19 and how the exterminating business really saw an incline in the number of customers because people were at home. Tell us about that time.
Absolutely. Well, COVID came around, and then people were forced to go back into their houses. They're used to going to work, being outside of the house, running around to basketball games and stuff with the kids, but this forced them to be in their house. So once they got in their house, they were able to see all their bugs that were running around, a lot of times rodents. They never knew they had rodents, and they start running across the floor. And a lot of them started to do remodeling, repairs, and they would open a wall and be full of termites.
Literally full of termites?
Full of termites. Because they hide. You can't see termites until they get really bad. So they start their remodeling project, they open a wall, or, you know, some people, they did something just like pressure wash the outside of their house, and a piece of the wood or something would blow off and termites would come out. You know, just little, fix-up projects that haven't been done. They had the time. So our business actually increased 20%, and it was crazy.
Wow. Can you see termites inside the house? And what do they look like?
Termites are hard to see inside the house. Not until their colony reaches a certain size, when they get to about 5 million in their colony size, then they're going to start to do something where they form wings and they start to come out and swarm. They turn from their little white, they look like little white ants with a long segment to their body, one long segment and a head. Where ants have 2 body segments and a head, termites have 1 long body segment and a head.
And wings.
And when their colonies get large enough and they want to make a new colony, they go ahead and they turn black and they sprout wings. And they start flying out, and what they'll do is, they're not good flyers. They'll get out inside of the house or outside of the house, and the wind blows them to places. Typically it blows them up against a house, and they land on the ground, they cut off their wings, they meet another one, they mate and pair, and they start a brand new colony right there.
Wow. So when you open up a wall or you notice that you've got something that looks like an ant sort of with wings, how hard is it to get rid of them? Because if they're coming out of the colony, that means that you probably does that mean you have an infestation?
Yes, that means you have an infestation. If it's actually termites, we go out and do free inspections because sometimes it's ants up in the wall and people don't know the difference. But you have an active infestation once that happens, and you really need a termite company that understands the biology of termites. Because termites travel underground typically about 100 yards. So if your neighbor has
the length of a football field.
The length of a football field is their typical travel distance under the ground. So a tree way far out in the yard, that same colony can be coming to your house, a crack in your slab. And a lot of people say, there's bricks on my house.
Right.
I can't eat a brick house. Well, what do you think's on the inside of your house? The 2x4s, the sheetrock, pictures. They love getting into pictures, and people have no idea. Files, books, all that's paper material. They find cracks in the house, in the mortar. They can manipulate mortar because it's actually sand and dirt, and find little holes in there.
Wow.
And make it into your house.
Now, so you talk about the biology, and I know that J J has really prided itself on the biology of the termite and the types of termites, so that they are able to treat the type of termite that you have.
Correct.
Tell us about
Correct.
that.
Well, we have the really bad Formosan termites here now. They're more prevalent in the south, but they are now all over the state. Formosan termites are different. If you treat them with a liquid product and you kill certain ones right away, they will cut off and reestablish and do something called budding, which means they make colonies in different areas, and it just enlarges what they can do with a liquid product. So we have a baiting system that they eat, and they can't detect it, and they pass it from one termite to the next until it gets down to the queen and wipes out the colony. So if people go in their houses and, oh, I have termites, I'm going to treat it myself because, you know, it's going to cost me this much with a exterminating company and I can get it a lot cheaper here, you can just be spreading them.
You can be spreading them, not knowing.
You can be spreading them.
Thinking you're helping, but you're literally.
Thinking you're helping.
And then they're going to spread from your house to possibly your neighbor's house.
Absolutely.
So for people who don't know if they have termites in their house, what are some of the telltale signs that you might have termites other than, okay, I see my wood? Because a lot of times you don't really see that until it's really too late. What are some telltale signs?
Telltale signs, the real telltale sign is going to be little bits of dirt coming out of your wall. If you see a little mound of dirt or even a line of dirt coming out from your wall, that's the true telltale sign. And if you want to get more specific about it, if you take a flashlight and you turn your lights off and you shine it against a wall and look up and down, you can see if there's waviness or anything behind the wall or wallpaper, and touch those areas to see if something's going on behind it. Because you typically do not see them until they reach that swarming stage. They will stay behind the wall, eat the 2x4s, everything else in there, until they get to that 5 million stage, which is already too late for most people. And then they'll come out, they'll be flying in your house, and there'll be hundreds. And if in the case of Formosan termites, there'll be thousands of them in your house.
So one of the things that you all do is you treat the outside as well as the inside. So if I have termites and I don't know it, and they've already started to do the damage, can I, how long does it take me to kill the colony?
Well, if you use a liquid product, it's faster. But there's certain things that liquid products are good for. Great slabs on a house where you can see everything. Not a lot of cracks, but now, it hurts the environment. The product that they use, the liquid product, is damaging to the environment. So the EPA has lessened the toxicity of it. So within 7 years, it leaches out of the soil. It's not as strong. So now we're going a lot to these baiting systems because you can put the baiting systems around the house, and they're drawn by pheromones and attractants to the bait. They're not drawn from other places to your house to these baits. They're already there. There's about 30 colonies per acre in Louisiana.
30 colonies per acre?
Yep, according to the LSU Ag Center, there's about 30 colonies per acre of termites.
Wow. Let's take a break here, but when we come back, we're going to tell you what you need to know to protect your home, your business, and your family, and most of all, your property from rodents that come to eat away and destroy your property. Stay on point. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. This morning, we're joined by our partners from J J Exterminating. Russell Meisner is one of the people that has been a mainstay in this company that has been around for more than 60 years, providing trusted and effective pest control services. We're talking about rodent season, and in the last break, we were talking about termites, and I know everybody is sort of wondering if what they saw in their house was a termite, but even bigger than that, how long is it going to take me to rid my home or my business of termites?
Well, termites, like I was telling you, it does take a little bit of time. During their molting season, when they do the swarms, when we put a bait on them, they eat it, and we do want them to stay alive for a little while. So they start eating this bait, and they prefer it over wood. So they're eating this bait, but they'll be moving around in your walls. It's kind of a creepy thing, but they're bringing it back, and they're
bringing it back to the colony.
They're bringing it back to the whole colony to eliminate it. The liquid product is not going to eliminate a colony.
Okay.
So they bring it back, and that process, if they're molting during the swarm season, you can knock them out in a couple of weeks.
When's the swarm season?
Swarm season is typically from end of March and can go all the way up until the end of July.
Okay, so we're past the swarm season.
We're past the swarm season.
So we're moving into the fall. So we really need to act.
But I do want to clarify myself on one thing too. We do have dry wood termites here. So they can swarm at any time because they're in people's houses and the heat in their houses, they can swarm.
So will they be more amenable to when we start to turn our heaters on?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll get swarm calls in the middle of the winter, and going out there that if it's really termites, it's going to be dry wood termites. And you really have to know what you're doing to notice the difference in the termites. Dry wood termites do the least amount of damage, and they move slowly, but they just need a tiny bit of moisture to start somewhere. And those are the ones that can actually move around in furniture and stuff inside your house.
Let's talk about moisture. And with all of the rain and the hurricanes that we've had and the rain events, the weather events, how will pests affect our homes, property, and businesses due to the moisture?
Louisiana, part of the reason that we are the 32nd largest pest control company in America.
In America.
In America. And there's thousands of pest control companies. We're the 32nd largest, is because we live in Louisiana, which has some of the most conducive conditions to all pests. So rain, droughts, any type of weather changes, pests come in. And the moisture and humidity here is perfect. We have to have weep holes in our houses so our walls can breathe and there's enough air coming in there. And that's perfect for pests to get up in the house. But when these rains come, big storms, hurricanes, the pests go inside. They're looking for shelter too. So your house provides the perfect spot for them to go in, and then they try to stay there. They try to stay there. They try to stay there.
You know what I've been seeing a lot of in the country, in our house? A lot of cockroaches. I mean, big cockroaches, more cockroaches in this season than I've ever seen. Is that due to the moisture, you think?
Yeah, they move for moisture and for drought because they do need water. So if it's dry outside, they're going to come looking in the house for little drops of water. They don't need much. They can essentially get the moisture off your air conditioner, and that's enough to sustain them. So they come in for that, and also the bad weather. Roaches can live through anything. You've seen the commercials. They can get washed down. They can come up in toilets. They like coming up in drains. But the moisture also, it pushes them in the bad weather. So, it's both sides. Both sides.
So any of us who live here see the sugar cane.
Oh, yeah.
The sugar cane, and it's being harvested right now. What kind of rodents?
Oh, gosh.
Whew.
There's a lot of rodents there. When they cut those fields, I've been there myself doing that sort of work. So you get to see how they just jump out in piles.
In piles?
In piles. They breed, and you'll hit certain areas, and they'll just jump out in piles. And they have to go somewhere. The Ag Center and different places here give the farmers some stuff to kind of help in the fields, but you can't take care of all of them.
And they want to come into your house. Rats are so smart, though. Is there a way to really, really get rid of them?
There is a way to really get rid of them. But you absolutely need a professional to do it. I mean, we see so many times people trying to do it themselves. I have a business here locally it's a bunch of guys at a garage. We can take care of these rats, and they're going to trap one or two of the smaller rats and think they're doing a great job, but the rest of them keep breeding, and it gets out of control finally, and then they decide to call us. And then it's a major job to try to do what we call a rodent clean out. You know, it's something you have to come back to every day, and you have to know what you're doing. Rats, they're neophobic, which means anything new in their environment, they're going to stay away from it for a while. So if you go ahead and put a certain sort of trap or something, they're going to notice it's different and not go to that area.
What?
Also, if you clean up their droppings or something,
Yes.
they're going to notice there's a difference there, and they're going to stop going to that area and go to a different area. So
You gotta be kidding me.
rats are extremely smart.
So you don't want to clean the droplings
No.
up because
Not till you catch them. Nope. You want to leave it there. In the business, we call it seasoning because they have pheromones and everything else that they use.
what are pheromones?
Those are their body. They create a substance. It's called sebum. It's an oily substance in their body. It's a gland that they get it on their fur. And they wipe that on different areas, and the rats will follow that. So they'll if they're outside, they're going to follow that trail right up. And rats love to get in attics. A lot of people don't think they have any rodent issues, but they're living up in your attic. They're smart. They don't want to be seen. So they're up in your attic. They're fantastic climbers, and a rat can fit its head inside a hole just so its skull can get in. A huge rat can fit in a hole the size of a quarter. A mouse can fit in something about the size of a dime. They squish their bodies down and they go right up. And if you ever have hamster cages or anything like that when you were kids, those tubes everywhere, that's what your walls are to rats, and your pipes and everything. It's a playground to them.
Wow. And so are they generally nocturnal?
They're generally nocturnal. Rats especially are very nocturnal, but once their population gets large, you're going to start to see them all times of the day.
Ah. Oh, wow. Okay, we got a lot to talk about. And when we come back, we're going to tell you how you can connect with J J Exterminating, no matter where you are in the state, to have them come out and assess your home or your business so that you can protect your home and your family during rodent season. Stay on point. We're back with more right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the OPT Network. Our guest this morning is Russell Meisner. He joins us from J J Exterminating, and we're having a really, really important conversation because we don't really understand the damage that rodents can do to our property, especially termites. And even rats chew through extension cords. They chew through stuff.
Rats are the #1 reason for house fires. They
The #1 reason for house fires.
#1 reason for house fires because they chew through electrical wires in the attic. They have to keep their teeth grinded down, so they have to chew on things.
Wow.
And they're the #1 reason for house fires, and it's very important. A lot of the times they can also cars. They've totaled out cars because they love eating the wires in cars. A lot of times the wires in the plastic has a material that has sugar in it.
Sugar?
It
Wow.
has sugar substance in it. So they like to eat that and chew on it because that's like a snack to them.
Wow. So with all of the water that we have currently and probably will get, it's bringing in all sorts of rodents. And snakes are unfortunately one of those rodents. And you said what about snakes?
Snakes are going to follow their favorite foods, and rodents are some of their favorite foods. So once rodents are getting into a house and they're establishing a pathway in there, the snakes, with their tongue, will sense where they're going, and they're fantastic climbers and can squish their bodies as well. So we get called to houses as well to get snakes out of attics, but the main reason snakes are around is because of the rodents. Snakes are also around because of like birds and chickens and eggs too, but the main issue is usually rodents. And when the water is here and the rodents are moving in, snakes are going to follow the food. There's actually a guy in Florida that, if you go on YouTube, there's mice or rats in a house, and he cuts a hole in the wall and he has a python. He lets the python go in the wall, and he has a bucket, and all of a sudden the mice and rats start jumping out into the bucket, and he covers it up, and he doesn't have to worry about the snake because the snake is going to follow the rodents. That snake comes back out the hole once all of them are out of the walls that you can't get to. So, yeah, just very great proof that snakes are around because of rodents, and they're just there for food.
So I want to talk, Russell, to all the people that are trying to fight rodents. Because you usually think, okay, I'll get a rat trap and I'll put a little cheese on it or I'll put a little peanut butter on it. All the myths that we thought worked, and I'll catch the rat.
Yeah.
But not true.
Not true at all. Rats really could care less about cheese. So that's a huge myth. A lot of people put it on there and we kind of laugh about it in the business. There are certain things that rats do come to.
What do they come to?
They like seeds.
They like seeds?
They like seeds. And if there's pet food around,
Mm-hmm.
they love pet food. And I have one secret one, but I'm going to keep that one to myself.
Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
kind of a trade secret that
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like rat crack.
Rat crack.
They can't resist it. So, you know, once you get to that level, when you get a really smart rat that senses, you know,
Mhm.
new things in the environment,
Mhm.
you've got to know what you're doing. You know, at J&J, they put a lot of money into our training.
Mhm.
And I've studied with rat experts from New York City
Mhm.
to know exactly. There's huge issues in New York City.
Right.
So they send us to those places and have those people come in to see us to cover rats and their biology and what they're attracted to and
Mhm.
everything else. And that does translate to Louisiana.
Mhm. So if you have one rat or mouse in your house, is it safe to say it's not just one?
Yes, yeah, they're never alone. There's
They're
always-
never alone.
They're never alone. Yeah, a lot of people say, well, I just have one rat. No, you don't. There's at least another one, and depending on how large they are, there's usually offspring because they mate frequently.
Mhm.
So there's never just one.
So this is a lot to wrap your mind around, because I think we all think that just like over the counter, we'll treat it ourselves until it's untreatable. But what I want people to know about J&J Exterminating is that you come out and you assess people's homes or businesses really
Absolutely free.
absolutely free.
Free for us to come look.
And the ability to protect your home is not nearly what you think that the cost would be. And for people who have homes, especially in the seller's market, you can't have problems with termites and sell your home.
You can't. I'm certified to do wood destroying insect reports, which when buying your house, you have to look at that too. And I had to treat one yesterday. They're going to sell the home and they had termite evidence on the house. So
Termite evidence.
Termite evidence. And I didn't find anything active on it, but a lender, the bank, the VA, refinancing, they're going to require that you have coverage on it.
And so tell us when we have a technician to come out to our home at no cost to you or your business, what does that look and feel like?
Okay. Well, the best thing with our technicians we're trained very well. The best way to take care of your pest issues is to have a great initial inspection.
Okay.
We don't just come into a house and somebody says, oh, I have roaches. We go in there and we check everything out thoroughly. Because unless you do a full inspection, you're not going to know what's really going on. Because we're going to find different spots where they're coming in, where they're living, and other pests too. So we do a full inspection, and then we have technicians. They've been with us forever. Once they get with J&J, they don't leave. But we do that, and it's a free inspection, absolutely free. So you can call our office. We've all been doing it a long time. We didn't lose people during COVID because we're an essential business. We come out there, do a free inspection, and I was at a place just before I came here and talking with the lady about some roaches. And I told her the quote and everything, and she said, oh, wow, that's not bad. You know, that a lot of people, you know, get a myth that it's going to cost a fortune.
Right.
But when you break it down to quarterly especially, they're paying less than $30 a month.
Wow. And that is to shield your home from any rodent. This is to protect you and so that you can know, you know, what may be lurking in your house, because how many of us go up into our attics?
Yeah. Nobody really goes in their attic except
Maybe
to
at
get
Christmas.
the Christmas tree,
Right.
get the Christmas tree, and then some people might find a snake skin or something else. But nobody goes out up there. That's one of the things that we check. The only reason we wouldn't check it if it's not accessible. Sometimes there's some old ladders there, or sometimes there's just a push hole that because of insurance liabilities and everything, it's not. There's high insurances to carry a ladder around with you. But if they have,
Accessibility to their attic.
or if they even have a ladder around that we can use, we're going to check it out because there's so much. That's the gateway for pests in your house. Everybody thinks that they're coming in low. Look up.
Look up.
Look up.
Wow. This has been so educational. And if you think you have a problem or you haven't had your home treated, the time to do it is now. J J Exterminating is shielding what's near and dear to you, and they've been doing it for more than 60 years. All you've got to do is reach out to them, give them a call, and they will come out to your home or your business at absolutely no cost to you and assess what's going on. Russell, this has been absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you so much, and I hope I get to come back again.
You absolutely will. And we'll be checking up on people's homes and businesses, especially as we're moving hopefully into some cooler weather. We know it's going to be some changes in what we'll see coming in or trying to come into our house. But when we're shielded by J J Exterminating, it's going to make it better. So, hey, stay on point, everybody. We're back with more right after this.